I wanted to speak on an incident that occurred last night, or should I say, roughly about 1:30 this morning, in front of our home. And it's an incident in which I handled it, but I didn't handle it to the best of my ability. And I knew that pretty much as soon as the incident was over. And I'm not making this video for like envy or empathy or anything like that. No, man, I know my mistakes and all that. But I'm making this video because I know there's other people out here that struggle with this issue. And this issue pertains to responding out of anger, or responding while you're angry. And so, just a quick general, just to go over it real quick, we had some neighbors in which every now and then, every once in a while, they get, we have a neighbor a few doors down who they hold house parties and stuff, and they invite their friends or families or whatnot. And they do get loud and everything to where they have the music up, and you can pretty much hear everything. And sometimes they have it a little bit late at night. So I mean, we don't care. I mean, hey, families get together, it's all good. I like it, to be honest. Um, but last night we had it to where we noticed that some of the people that were coming, that were in this gathering, had made their way to in front of to down to our house and in front of our house. And they were arguing. There was a group of people arguing. um, they were speaking a different language. I'm guessing they were maybe Vietnamese or somewhat Korean or something like that. Some Asian descent, maybe. I'm not sure. But they spoke some words in English, and some of the things we heard was that, hey, you're clearly drunk. You're just upset right now at what's going on. You're just emotional. And so we had this woke my wife and I up. And so, I'm a little upset already. So, I'm like, all right, they got like 1 minute to get out of here and take that stuff somewhere else, because I thought maybe they're just walking towards their car or something. But no, they stayed in that location. So I get out the bed, I get on some clothes real quick, and I turn on my porch light and I walk out, and start speaking to them, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I was cussing at them. I was upset. It had already been a long day. We had just attended a funeral that morning, of a relative who had just passed at a very, very young age. And so it was a bit emotional. And then I already had a couple more meetings with some people. So I had to switch from that funeral mindset to get in business mindset to, handle these meetings. And then we also had, attended my first open mic appearance. We had just gotten back home from that about an hour earlier. And so, and that went well, but we were tired. It's birthday month for my wife. We've already been running around, and so we're already tired. And I already planned. We already had to be up early the next morning, for church. And so, we're already a little annoyed at the fact that we've been waking up, um, after this kind of crazy day, roller coaster type of day. And so, I express my emotions. I'm not a great pretender. Actually, I'm glad about that, so people don't have to worry about whether or not I'm telling the truth around them or not. But not a great pretender, so if I'm upset, sometimes I do tend to let people know, like, hey, you need to straighten up because you kind of pissed me off. But so anyway, I went back. I was talking to these. It was a group of people. It was about one gentleman and I believe three females. They were sitting on a curb right in front of our house, and they were still talking. And so I told them, like, "Hey, y'all need to stop. What are y'all doing?" And I'm cussing at them because I'm like, "Hey, y'all need to shut the heck up, and get back out of here. What are y'all doing? Y'all just sitting here." And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." I'm like, "Nah, man, forget sorry. Okay, that's cool, but get up out of here. Cut that mess out." And you could tell they were intoxicated. Um, and so as they were walking away, of course they're, talking back to me, and I don't really like it when people talk back to me. So I'm like, "Yo, what you stop talking, just walk, just bounce, go." And of course they're getting agitated because I'm like cussing at them too. And so they're like, no, we're walking, we're walking. So anyway, long story short, they walk back to the house and they're upset as they're walking back. Now, when I came back in the house, I realized, you know, I could have done better. 10 years ago, if I was in a situation, I would have been pretty cool. You know, my flesh side would have been like, yo, yeah, you told them cats, man, they ain't gonna never, come on, man. So let these people know not to mess with you in your household. But I'm not the man I was 10 years ago. And the reason I knew that, I've been knew that, but it was really confirmed last night when I came back in and the Holy Spirit was like, look, bro, come on, man. You know you could have handled that better, man. You ain't even have to get all loud with them. You already bigger than them. They're intoxicated. You blew a good opportunity to be a blessing to them. Um, you could have been a lot nicer for once. You could have maybe even prayed for them to get their safety home. I got plenty of bottled water back here. I could have offered them some water to help them flush out that alcohol out their system. Um, I could have prayed for them and everything, but I didn't. And the Holy Spirit really convicted me on that. He's like, man, you kind of blew that opportunity to really be a blessing to these people. Like, you don't really know what they're going through. Yeah, they're being loud and rowdy and they celebrating stuff, but you don't know what they're celebrating or what kind of stuff they had to go through just to be able to celebrate tonight. And so that spirit, it really convicted me. And um, it made me think like, hey, I did get the desired result, but I mainly didn't respond in a godly manner. And that's big to me because my goal is to become a man of God, not just say that I'm a man of God, but actually earn that title, you know? And it made me realize that this is something that I've kind of had not just a long time ago. This is an issue that I've been dealing with, but I've dealt with this issue recently, you know? Um, so instead of like situations like this made me realize that I really need to draw closer to God. And that's the main reason why I wanted to make this video because I know there's a lot of us, not only to be like, hey, you know, I'm not afraid to go ahead and admit my mistakes, but to let people, to really help encourage people that are dealing with similar issues. Like, hey, we're human. We're going to make mistakes, even as Christians, even in our walk with Christ. But it's about how we respond to those mistakes that develops our character. And so, but I realized, I also, I realized that, I've come a long way, but I still got a long ways to go. And so, I wanted to really touch on a couple of scriptures that dealt with anger. And one of those, I'm going to just mention two of them. I'm going to mention a few of them, a list of several of them in case you're dealing with this issue and you want to go to the Bible and look it up for yourself. Um, be my guest, I definitely encourage you to do that. Some of the scriptures I found were, let's see, Proverbs chapter 19, verse 11, Ephesians chapter 4, verses 26 and 31, James chapter 1, verses 19 through 20, Proverbs chapter 14, verse 29, Matthew chapter 5, verse 22, Psalm chapter 37, verse 8, Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9, Romans chapter 12, verse 19, Colossians chapter 3, verse 8, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 11, and then I'm going to read off Proverbs chapter 15, verses 1 and 18, because they kind of really deal with this situation that I dealt with last night. Let me pull it right up real quick. All right, so Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1 says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And that directly explains why they were upset as they were walking away. um, in my situation this morning. Verse 18 says, chapter 15, verse 18 says, a hot tempered person stirs up conflict, but one who is patient calms a quarrel. Now, I've calmed down many situations before in my life where I was very calm in hostile environment, and the situation cleared up very clear, very good. And so, why didn't I do it in this instance? I'm not sure. But this is one of those instances where I allow the flesh, the way of my flesh get to me instead of taking heed and following the spirit. Come on, phone, try to go to sleep on me. Excuse me for a second. Um, so a way I should have responded is basically, first of all, coming out more positively, let them know like, hey, make sure everything is all right with them. I don't know, maybe something could have been wrong with the main girl that was crying. They're crowding her, trying to comfort her. Maybe there was something wrong with her. Maybe she had just gotten hurt. I should have tried to see mainly if they were okay. And then just nicely say like, look, man, y'all realize y'all waking people up. And that's not cool. These aren't very thick walls, so we can hear things kind of easily. And so being that you all are loud and you're not throwing stuff or nothing, you're not necessarily rowdy, but being that you're loud and you're already intoxicated, you're not thinking straight. I should have been more nicer to them. I've had plenty of training on how to deal with intoxicated people, but I chose not to, utilize those tactics and those techniques in this situation. Um, and I should have been, just more hospitable towards them. I should have been really nicer to them because, like I said earlier, I really don't know what they were dealing with. So if you happen to be watching these videos, and I don't know your names, and I just know kind of barely remember how y'all looked. But if y'all were in, I'm pretty sure you know who you are. If y'all were in a party October 13th in Long Beach, North Long Beach, and if you're watching this video, I just want to apologize for my actions. Um, that's not, that's a type of person, that's something I'm still working on to improve or how I respond in those situations, especially hostile ones. Um, So if you're watching this, I apologize to those people. In closing, I can't say that one thing I always like to do is when I present problems, and I do the same thing in my poetry. I present issues, but I also want to provide solutions to better those issues or to try to prevent those issues from happening again or minimize those issues. And so, some ways to what I got is some ways to basically prevent destructive responses are including taking a deep breath before you address a situation or before you speak. Consider the positive side of the situation, if there is one. Um, and then reminding yourself that everything in life is a test. And that's something I really failed to realize. Everything that you go through in life is a test. Some tests are bigger and harder than others. Trust me, I know. But you got to realize it's a test. It's a test of what are you going to do about it? How are you going to respond to it? Are you going to respond negatively in it? Or are you going to let it take you out? Or are you going to respond positively and try to prevent it from happening or encourage other people who might be dealing with the same situations or coach other people, should I say? And so I just wanted to really express that yeah, because I'm not a perfect man, but I know anger is something that I've been dealing with as a kid. In this situation, yeah, I had the right to be angry, but as a person that's working towards a man of God, I know that I could have handled that better, and it starts with us. When we look at ourselves and like, look, we could have handled that better, especially as a Christian. You know, it's already a hard enough title as it is in our society. But when we look at ourselves and look at like, look, how I could have done better. How could I have done better? And that's when we really start making a change as a whole. And so that's what this video is made for. My name is Roderick Talley, and you have just watched the first part of Talley Talks. Y'all take it easy. God bless y'all.